Yeah, welcome friends. Today we have Drew with us. Uh,
Namaskar.
Namaste Drew. Drew is a
Ah,
YouTuber. He is a YouTuber. He is a traveler. He likes to visit various archaeological places throughout the world. He has so far visited more than 20 countries and he is documenting his journey for over 5 years. Recently Drew was in
nice.
India. Yeah, recently he was in India to visit some of the important monuments in Delhi, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. So we decided to speak to him about his experience with Indian temples. So welcome Drew, welcome to Indian Temples channel. First thing I would
I
like,
just want to say,
yeah, go ahead
just want
Drew.
to say just want to say thank you very much, Dhanyavad Viribhai. Very happy to be doing an interview with you. And one thing I always say is how much I love India and I miss it every day. So I hope you guys are all doing good right now. I hope people can get some good information from this interview today.
So Drew, what was it that attracted you to India? What was the thing that made you think I should visit India?
I think my whole life, obviously, like grown up in America, Western culture, our history only goes back so far. So my whole life I've been fascinated with traveling and, Asia. And then once I started to research a little bit about India, my grandfather had been there way back, many, many years ago, and he spoke very highly of it, very highly of the people there. So it was a dream of mine to be able to go back and he had talked about the Taj Mahal and talked about the beauty of all these sites and the temples, the people, the food. And then one of the things I was doing for years with traveling was anywhere I'd go and find an Indian restaurant and try it everywhere throughout the world, whether it's Thailand, Europe, parts of America, um, Egypt, anywhere I could get my hands on it. So, and then I started to design a trip to go to India and when I was putting it together, it started to just be overwhelming. Like India as a whole is it's so massive. I mean, there's 7 states in India, correct, Dinesh?
No, there are more than 30 actually.
Oh, well, I was way off. My apologies.
Okay,
I
no
was saying
problem.
30, my bad.
No
Okay,
problem.
so obviously when you're traveling as a Westerner, you hear all these, there's so much things on the news. Same as in my country, you see the news and it's like, oh, it may be too overwhelming. So when I was designing the trip, I wasn't going to try and go from north to south in the middle. There's so many places to see, so I decided to travel in the north, which was Delhi, Varanasi, and then Punjab. I went to Amritsar, so Sat Sri Akal, anybody that's from Punjab. So it was a blast. And I also went to Rajasthan. I went to Jaipur and I went to Udaipur, and the temples. Just even you know from what I'd seen in photographs back home, when you're booking a trip and putting it together, all I did was hire a driver. I had all the places I wanted to see. So when I got to India, the first place I was at was in Delhi, and I think the first day I was there, I went to Hanuman's tomb.
Yeah,
Is Islamic.
Humayun.
So
It's Humayun, not
Humayun's
Hanuman.
tomb.
Yeah,
Okay, my Hanumanji. My apologies. My
yeah.
apologies.
Hanumanji is
So
supposed to be alive even till today.
yes,
It's called as Chiranjeevi, the one who lives forever. That's alternate name for Hanuman, and Hanuman is supposed to be one of the
yes.
Chiranjeevis. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry for interruption.
So no, 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 no. It's okay. So we went to that tomb first, and I saw the architecture, and you're seeing the Islamic architecture throughout Delhi in certain spots, and it's really fascinating because you have a mixture of obviously Muslim religion and then Hindu religion and Buddhism, Jainism. I went to the Lotus Temple in Delhi as well. I think that was on like the second day I was there. And when you're
Okay.
walking up, it's just so massive. There's nothing. This is what I always tell everybody back home. I'm like, India has the sights, and when you're seeing it for the first time, it's just mind blowing. I cannot. It's just bahut acha. It's very good. I mean, it's so cool. So when I went to Lotus Temple, I learned a lot about you know the different religions that were there, and the importance of the lotus flower is something that was really fascinating to me that ties into Hinduism as well. And it ties into like every religion that I've researched. Like everywhere
Okay.
around the world, I kept finding this lotus flower being such an important symbolic thing. So being able to see that in Delhi was incredible. And obviously, we went to Agra. After Delhi, I went down to the Taj Mahal, and
Okay.
I think the Taj is. I mean, I've been to the pyramids. I'm in Jordan right now, so I went to Petra the last couple of days, and I mean, the Taj is still like, to me, the Taj is, everybody says a symbol of love, and it's just so beautiful to be able to go see it, and it's so well preserved. So one of the things I tell people when they're like, "Hey, is India safe?" or this, that, the kind of questions that you would get if you came to my country, people back home are going to ask you like certain things. They're like, "Oh, is it safe?" And I'm like, it's like it doesn't matter what's going on in India. The Taj and these temples and the history of this country is so important that everybody needs to go visit it. This is the one thing I always say. And
Okay.
the Taj Mahal is just an incredible sight. I mean, the buildings, the fort, you have the minarets, and the fact that it's built, it's basically, I don't want to say anything up, there's parts of it that are sinking. Some of the minarets are actually sinking. So there's some restoration projects going on right now, hopefully, and it could be viewed and loved by the world forever. And then
Yeah.
after I went to Agra, we went up to Amritsar, visited the Golden Temple, and I don't know if you've been up there, been to it. It's incredible, and just the sheer size of it, and it's a full time operation. I mean, the way that
Right.
it is, I was able to go, and we ended up we ended up cooking in a little. There's a huge food operation. All the
Yeah.
devotees, they'll go
It is
and they'll
Amritsar.
spend they'll spend.
Um, the
Go
Golden
ahead.
Temple has the Golden Temple has one of the biggest community kitchen. In fact, it is the biggest community kitchen in the world. It serves to more
Yes.
than more than a million devotees every single day. And in fact, wherever
Yeah.
there
I
is
mean,
wherever there is a natural calamity in the country, Amritsar has special flights going there with food from this very temple.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a word. The biggest thing I took away from Sikhism, because I'd seen Sikh temples throughout the world, but I hadn't been. It's different. It's like seeing a Hindu temple in like in its full form with the people and everything going on. It's so incredible, and
Yeah.
being able to go there. I spent some time. We made bodies. It was just an incredible experience, honestly. And what I learned was one of the biggest things being in India and around the different people and seeing the devotees, whether it's Hindus, Buddhists, whether it was Muslims or Sikhs and Jains. It's just there's so much faith in your country that I've never seen anywhere else, and that is whether you agree with a religion or not. There's something that when you look at it as a whole and you see what people give and what they give back, it's such a beautiful thing. And that was remarkable to be able to see that in person rather than see it on TV.
Okay.
And then after I was in Punjab, there's a temple in Punjab. It's in a back road, like in kind of where the market is. There's a Hindu temple, and it has an old tree growing out of the center of it. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's kind of like it's like a it's right in a crossroad, basically where the market meets, and there's this whole like Hindu temple slash shrine, and there's a big tree that's grown out in the middle of it. I'll definitely send you once I find the pictures. I'll send them over to you,
Sure.
but it's
Sure.
incredible. I went to another Hindu temple there in Amritsar as well, and it reminded me. It was like, to me, it was very similar because obviously Hindu temples traditionally are close to bodies of water. throughout history. They've, whether it's a pond, because it's, from my understanding, it's, you're bringing life to the temple in a way. So when they were building them, whether it's in Rishikesh, where it's by the water, there's a ton of temples. And so this one I saw in Amritsar had like a man-made lake in it, kind of similar to the Golden Temple with square shapes, and it had, once you go over the little bridge, you have the Hindu temple was there, and it was just incredible. I mean, yeah, I just cannot wait to come back. But
Yeah, I just wanted to correct one thing. Not all
Yes.
Hindu temples are by the side of water bodies. There are many.
This is
there,
true, yes.
Yeah, there are many temples which are situated on the hillocks. There are many temples situated in the middle of desert as well. So it's not about water body, but yes, we prefer a source of water around the temple. There are different social reasons for it, but we can talk about it later. You can continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the best I can, brother. I mean, it's,
Yeah. No problem.
there's so
No
many
no
different
problem.
ones. No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
another thing that was very fascinating when you're doing research on India, and you look at the different states, and you look at the
Mm.
temples,
Mm.
they're all so different from region. So
Yeah.
whether you're in the north, um, there's a temple that's part of the Char Dharam. Is that what it is? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Char Dham. Yes. The four
Char
holy
Dham.
places. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the shape of those is very obelisk in shape to me when I'm looking at it. They're not as they don't have as many, I'm trying to think of the word, they're not as ornamental, like
Yeah.
temples that are all hand carved on the bottom. They have the deities, and they have the stories from the holy books.
Right.
Versus like
Right.
and I don't know. It's fascinating because it's like it's
You are
more.
you are talking about sculptures on temples. The sculptures
Yes.
that are carved there. Yeah.
Yes. So the one temple in particular that really fascinates me in India that I cannot wait to go see is one of the Char Dham is Kandanar. Is that the name? Kandanar?
Sorry. No, Badrinath you might be saying. Badrinath. Are you talking about
Okay.
Badrinath? It is situated in the Himalayas. On
Yes.
Yeah, and the temple remains closed for 6 months at a stretch. It,
Yeah.
it's open only
Wow.
for 6 months, and it's closed for the rest of the 6 months.
Really? Is it because
Yeah.
the weather's so bad? Or
Because of weather,
snow?
and there is a story that the temple is allowed to humans only for 6 months, because the rest of the year, the remaining 6 months, the gods come there to visit the deity, and they worship the deity for 6 months. When the weather is adverse and when the temple is completely covered with snow, for these 6 months the gods come down to earth from the heaven, and they worship the deity. That is the common story, that is the common folklore that is said about the temple.
It's very interesting. See, this is
Yeah.
all great knowledge. That, I mean,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. Dhanyabad, Miribhai.
Welcome.
So,
So आपका स्वागत है.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we
So-
went to, oh, go ahead, brother.
No. Go continue.
Oh, so then went to Varanasi and went down to the holy gods and saw the temples there. And as you're coming around, this is another thing for people back home watching. For me, is Varanasi is a site that you see when you're watching back home. You'd be watching Discovery, National Geographic, and they're showing the holy gods. So being able to be there as a foreigner and see it's just an absolutely incredible thing. And it was absolutely life-changing. And when you're walking on the holy gods in Varanasi, there are once you get past, there's a main ghat there. Once you get past that, you go up around the corner, there's all the ancient ruins are up there, and you have the leaning temples
Leaning
that are still
temple.
in Varanasi.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they have a very well-known Hanumanji temple
Yeah.
in Varanasi as well. It's and I think it's exclusively, you can only go if you're Hindu. I know that.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're
Right. Right.
Tourists cannot, unless you're a practicing Hindu, you can go as a tourist. But to be able to see that, I didn't go inside the temple, but being able to see it from the outside, it was incredible. and you could just see the difference, like we were talking about before, the nature of the way the temples are built in different areas of India, completely different styles. Like
Yes.
it was, it's incredible. They're so, particularly in Varanasi, they're all very similar to one another. Whereas if in Delhi, you're going to see kind of different styles of temples throughout Delhi, but Varanasi, what I was seeing was kind of the same structure. I think I sent you some photographs of them, but
Yeah. You have seen
it's
it.
incredible.
Yeah.
To be
In
able
fact,
to be able to wander around and see something that is, that old and has been in use for that long. A question I had for you, Dinesh, was what is the oldest functioning Hindu temple in India?
the oldest functioning Hindu
Is there a
temple.
particular?
Okay,
Yes.
the oldest surviving temple that I know, it is temple number 14 at Sanchi. Sanchi is a place in Madhya Pradesh, the central part of India, and that is also UNESCO World Heritage Site. So there are many Buddhist as well as Hindu temples in at that place. So one of the temple number 14, they are numerically numbered now according to the discovery of those temples. So temple number 14 at Sanchi is the oldest surviving Hindu temple. I'm not about the oldest functioning Hindu temple, but there are many temples that are as old as say 1500 years old or even 2000 years old. There is one particular temple that is closer to my place in the central Maharashtra, central part of India. So it's an apsidal temple at a place called Ter. So that is from 3rd century and it's still functioning. So that could be one of the oldest functioning Hindu temples.
It's wild, brother. It's
Yeah.
wild. You guys are very lucky to have all that. Back home, I have some
Yes,
things
yes.
from like the oldest thing in my neighborhood back home is from like 1950. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
50, 60 years old. Yeah.
So
So
for for for,
yes, go
for,
ahead,
for,
brother.
for the audience of this session, I would like to tell you Drew is from USA. His home base is on west coast of USA, and he travels all around the world looking for archaeological sites, looking for ancient temples, ancient pilgrimage places rather than temples. So Drew, you mentioned that you did a lot of research about India, a lot of research about these places. So I wanted to know how different was the reality from the research or from the information that you received on internet or from books. How different you
I
found the
think
reality?
I think I think the best thing about social media now.
Hmm.
Sorry, hold on. Did I lose you?
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can hear you. Your video might have been gone off, but we can still hear you. You can go ahead.
Okay. Um, there we go. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, the best thing about social media, obviously everybody's attached to their phones now, but you're starting to see more and more of these places, even in India, in very rural parts, whether it's up in the north or in the deep south, and the different states. So I'm always adding little things for future trips to India. Hey, I want to check this out. Kaisala Temple, what we were
Okay.
speaking about, is a place. So when I was doing my research, it was very much like, okay, I can't. India's a huge country. I can't, go over there and try and do all these things in one trip. I had to break it up. So I think
Yeah.
now
Right.
with the social media, and especially with what you're doing on your Instagram, that's how I found your Instagram. And now I'm
Right.
able to be like, okay, Denise is showing me this. I would have never known about this. So I think it's awesome. Um, it's very, very, it's changed a lot. Because when I first started traveling, which I've been traveling on and off my whole life, but the last 5 years has been very, very consistent. So going back like 10 years ago, you couldn't get any information on anything. So with
Okay.
the technology that we have in social media, you're able to see more parts of the world, especially India. I mean, the other day, this is just an offset. I was walking in the desert here in Jordan. We
Okay.
did 10-mile hike. We're in the desert, and I had a tribesman out here. They call them Bedouins, and they live in the desert. And the guy pops out a cell phone to take a picture with me, and it was just like, it's like this is where we're at now as human beings. We're able to communicate more. So that being said, it's easier to find information on India online. It's just also you have to be very careful with whom um, you're finding that information. Like, same thing back home. If you're doing information to come to, you know, California, um, you're gonna take more time with it. You know, you don't want to always go with the first person that reaches out and say, "Hey, come see this place." So
Okay.
it's like,
Same is true
yeah,
for India as well. You have to be very careful
yes,
about, yeah.
of course. It's like, and the thing was, when I was prepared to go to India, it's a place that I would definitely recommend to anybody, but it's another place that you need to respect and definitely need to know a few things before you go. You know,
Right.
some small words, notable Hindi, you know, these kind of things.
Right, right, right.
It's the same thing. If you came to America, I mean, you speak great English, so it's different. But you know, um, it's just a different. It's a whole different thing.
Exactly, exactly. So you mentioned
Another
about, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, brother. It's hard
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
the time. But yeah,
No problem, no
go
problem.
ahead.
You mentioned about Kailash Temple, one of the places you wanted to visit but you could not visit. So, are there any more places in your list that you skipped out and you are keeping it for the next
There's
trip?
so many. There's so
Okay.
many, bro. I
Hmm.
want to go to Kailash Temple. I want to go to Hampi. I want to see the India wheel in person, because
Okay.
knowing the story about it and understanding that, all the pegs on the wheels
Right.
have symbolic meaning, these kind of things. And so I want to go to Hampi. I'm not really into the whole Goa thing. That's not me. I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I live by the beach back home, so it's like it's
It's
even
not a
out
big
here.
deal
There's a
for
beach
you.
out here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a. So there's parts in the east I want to go to as well. There's different regions. I was looking even into doing a motorbike trip. Hopefully, I was going to come back last year in March. I was planning to come for Holi with a
Okay.
friend of mine but obviously with COVID, it was getting so close. And I told my buddy, I was like, "Hey, you haven't been to India before, and you've never really been out of the United States." So I was like, "Hey, let's wait to things are better and we can come back and do it right." I
Right.
definitely
Right.
was even looking into, going up to Nagaland. All
Okay.
sorts of different places keep popping
Okay.
up on the radar for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Tige,
That's
Tige.
yeah, that's wonderful that you have so many temples to visit. That would definitely motivate you to come back again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So basically, you have been to only the northern part of country, of very small posture. There are different type of architecture all over the country. There are you will see totally different kind of architecture, totally different kind of buildings, totally different kind of temples in every state, every part of the country you will go. So I wanted to know, because earlier times, before the social media, there were many cases of fraud that happened with foreign tourists in India. So I hope you never had to face anything like that about financial fraud or about anyone cheating on you in any regards.
No,
No. So
no. I'm
that
no. I'm a big guy. I'm pretty big
okay.
when I stand up.
Okay.
But it's like what I say is when I tell people, I'm like, hey, you're gonna want to know some key things. You want to know some keywords like "potsasta," "tige, tige," "chalo, chalo," you know,
Okay.
you know, "nahin, nahin, nachahe," different
Okay.
things. I didn't have
Okay.
any problems. Just I think um, the one thing people just wanted to take pictures with me, I guess, when we were there. So
Okay.
I got some funny videos on my YouTube, but
Yeah,
I didn't have
I
any
saw
problems.
I saw those videos. I saw those videos where a group of school children wanted to shake hand with you and just wanted to say hello.
Oh well,
I saw that. Yeah.
yes, yes. No, we. I think that's the one thing. It's like when you come, it was really important to me to just know a couple words and be
Okay.
able to speak. So I didn't have any problems. I didn't feel unsafe in India.
Yeah.
It's the people are very, very friendly. I think maybe sometimes when you're watching the videos of tourists, is that
Yeah.
they don't understand in Western culture, bargaining, we call it, what they keep referring to as scams. Oh, look out for this rickshaw scam. Look out for this hotel scam. I mean,
Yeah.
I did have one incident that's pretty good in Punjab, in Amritsar. had a driver try and tell me that the restaurant had burned down that I wanted to go to, or it had rats, and I was just like, bro, I was like, Miribai. I was like, I'm going to this restaurant, and he told me
Okay.
the restaurant was great. But
Okay.
it's those kind of things. It'd be like if you went, you know, because obviously in India, what another thing I noticed was, there's so much in-country traveling amongst Indians. So they
Right.
go to different regions. They're dealing with the same. They'll deal with the same, hustle that I deal with. If you
Okay.
go, if you go up north or something, you're going to deal with the same things.
Right.
So
Right.
nothing that was extraordinary, or no,
No special mention incident. There was no incident that you.
that didn't uncomfortable.
Okay.
What's that? Yeah.
No,
Nothing
yeah.
different.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think, yeah. I mean, I'm very much, when you've traveled heavily, I've traveled in the Middle East a lot, and I've traveled in Europe, and I've traveled in Southeast Asia. Um, I've been to Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam.
Okay.
So when you're used to it, it's easier. But if I had never been to India, I mean, if I had never traveled in Asia, the Middle East, and then you go, it's going to be a bit much. I would definitely, it can be a little bit overwhelming at times.
Okay. So for our viewers, I would like to tell that Drew has been traveling for a long time now, and he publishes his post to Drew's Guide to the Galaxy. That is his handle. I will share the handle in the. I have already shared the handle in the description for this video, so you can follow him on his Instagram ID. So do you have so you have been following our page Indian Temples for some while now. So were you following our page before you came to India, or you started following after that?
Now, after that,
After
once I
that.
started, so the last 5 years that I've been traveling, I've been documenting the trips, and my plan all along was to be able to share it with other people. And
Okay.
I've been compiling stuff, building, working on my videos and working on my photography. So once I came out with the Drew's Guide to the Galaxy and I put the Instagram out there, it's all kind of been very recent. And then when doing research for India, you popped up, and I looked at the photography, and the information is so well done that I was like, oh, I gotta know this guy. I gotta know this. I gotta meet this guy. So it's very well done in a way that is very historic. Number one, very factual, and I'm very fascinated by all your hard work. Is very, to me, when I look at it, is work. So that's another thing with traveling. It's work. It's
Thank you.
a
Thank
lot
you.
of research.
Thank you for the very appreciative words, Drew. That's exactly the motto of my page. I don't want to create a propaganda about Indian temples. I don't want to create a larger than life image of the temples. I just want to show what it is there. I just want to show what's the reality. So that has always been my motto. So, anyways, Drew, it's very early morning time there. You're in Jordan. That's, I think, 7:45. It's there. So
It's like
7:15,
Yeah.
7:22. Okay. So I made you get up too early. I made you chat with me too early. So I would like to conclude very soon now. One thing that I wanted to ask you, I wanted to know from you, what would be your suggestion to other foreigners who plan to visit India, who plan to visit Indian temples? Would there be some words of advice from you for them?
Yes. Yes. I would definitely work on one region. Look at the different temples. If you're going specifically to India to look at temples, I would definitely suggest figuring out, okay, like if you go to the south, they're very colorful on the outside,
Yeah.
down there they look totally different. So I would definitely suggest pacing yourself, be aware of the distances that you will be traveling. Some places you're going to have to travel by train for long distances of time, which could be, 12, 18 hours. You can
Yeah.
you're going to need to know where to book flights, these kind of things. So you definitely get quotes from drivers and train schedules, all these things. But it's very important if I think first time India traveler, I would I would definitely suggest going to the north first because you can get a lot of different parts. And if you have time, if you have, it depends. There's so many different little tours. You have the Golden Triangle tour. And, there's a name for everything, right?
Right,
So
right.
yeah. So if you can go to the south, I mean, I want to go to the south first. So you go to the north, and then I'll go to the south.
Okay.
I would suggest anybody wanting to travel to India, reach out to somebody on Instagram that is based in India that you maybe like their profile or you see something that looks honest. I would definitely be more emphasized on if you get in contact with a travel agency out there, make sure you just get a good vibe from them and you can look at their reviews, all these kind of things are very important, but even reach out and even if somebody was seeing your page, they'd be like, hey Danish, I got a question. I know you would answer it for them.
Definitely,
So
definitely. I
just
will be
get
always here.
yeah, I mean, you've given me great advice. I'm looking forward to coming out there, and I think I think you could just do the research, take your time, make sure you're spending enough time in India. I think, even in the north, you got to do at least if you're going to just do cities, and temples, these kind of things. You're going to want to pace yourself. I'd be doing like 2 to 3 days in each place. Would be acceptable. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You reach out to Denise. He's there. He'll give you all the pointers that you need. But I mean, don't. The one thing with travel, and this will be the same thing with you. It's obviously people are trying to make sales, so make sure you're going with the right company. Don't feel too much pressure, and try and have a relaxed trip. And pick the temples in the region that you're most fascinated with to start with. Because I can guarantee you, after you go to India, all you're going to think about is when you're coming back.
Yeah. Right.
That's my
Uh,
biggest advice.
okay. Thank you very much, dear. There was another question. You have been documenting your trips for long time now. You upload videos. You upload to your social media. So, are there any
Yes.
plans to convert this diary into a book, sometime, a travelogue book, maybe?
I think so. Some of the things I've been working on is I've recently, just real quick, in this last year during COVID, we were able to travel a little bit. So I went back to Turkey. I've been to Turkey 2 times now. I went to Egypt for New Year's, and then
Okay.
now I'm in Jordan. In the future, yes, I'd like to do something, but mostly it's a way for me to give back to the world, I guess, and share the world with other people. It's not really about planning, so it's really about just connecting people together that under normal circumstances would never get to know each other. That's
Okay.
why none of my trips are sponsored by anybody. I never tell anybody, hey, watch this page, stick around and look at this cool thing I have. Like nothing. It's kind of like your stuff where it's like, hey, I just want to show you something, and if you
Yeah.
like it, watch it. And if you
Okay.
have questions, reach out. I'm available. But
Okay.
in the future, yes, I'd like to do. I could put a book together for sure, for sure on the adventures.
Okay.
Now, yeah,
Definitely, we would really love to read that book.
very good, brother.
Yeah. So, friends, this was Drew for us. He has been traveling for a long time now. He has visited more than 20 countries. He is especially interested in archaeological sites, archaeological places, and he has been to India recently, visiting some of the archaeological places in Punjab, in Rajasthan, in Uttar Pradesh, in Delhi. He was especially fascinated by Varanasi and Udaipur and Jaipur and Amritsar. These were the places that he especially loved. So this was due for us today for this live interview. If you have any further question about his trip, the video will be uploaded later on YouTube. So you can put the question in comment, and you will be very happy to answer them at a later moment as well. So thank you very much, Drew, for joining us today. It was really wonderful to have you here. It was really wonderful to have a conversation with you, and it was also wonderful to have another alternate view towards our temples, because when we look at our own temples, we feel very happy, very passionate, very proud about them. But definitely it was refreshing to have alternate view as well. So thank you very much, dude. धन्यवाद. आपने you have you have made our mornings very wonderful.
I'm very happy to hear that. बहुत अच्छा.
Yeah.
धन्यवाद मेरे भाई साहब. फिर मिलेंगे अलविदा.
Yes, alvida. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.